Hi, in this video, we are going to do a quick run through of how we run an amplitude audit at Adasight. So, in our Growth Analytics Workbook, we have this tab where we basically run through an amplitude audit of your organization and we see what are the areas where we can run some optimizations within our client's amplitude setup. So it starts with some looking at some basic configurations. So we are going to go through each of these sections very quickly, and on this side of the screen, I'll show you guys how we actually run the amplitude audit. So this over here is the amplitude interface, and towards the right of the screen, we have the Google Sheet where we track everything related to the amplitude audit. So the first part over here we see is basically amplitude organization, org ID, number of projects, license type, product add-ons, event volume limits, event volume usage, data sources, number of users, admin users, spaces, time zone, um, and other related information to the amplitude organization and different projects that we have. So in the first tab, you can see that we are where we are right now is basically in the settings section, and within settings we are in the organization settings part. So over here, the first part, we see the general settings of the organization. So we have the organization name and the org ID. We can always change the organization name, but the org ID is basically the unique identifier for the organization. We can always look at the plan that we are on and the different billing details. So at the bottom we can see which plan we are on, what are the different limits of the plan, and what are the add-ons that we have. So over here we can see that we have the web experiment add-on and the session replay add-on. These are already part of the amplitude plan that we have, but if there are any additional add-ons that we purchase, we would see them over here, and we also see the usage of all of those. um, Here we can see that we have a limit of 50,000 MTU. MTU is basically monthly attract users for this project, and we can see that we've only consumed approximately 1.5% of the total volume for the month. If we want to look at usage over time, we can always look at that over here. Additionally, if you want to see which projects are there within the organization, we can go to the project section. If we click on any of the projects, we can see the different details of the projects over here. We can always have see the API key, secret key. We can see the time zone. We can always check if this is the correct time zone or not. If there are any alerts that we have or not, we can always see those over here. If we go to the members section, we can see who are the different users who have access to the amplitude organization, and we can always filter them by role as well. So if we wanted to look at people who have admin access, we can apply this filter over here, and we can see that these are the people who have admin access to the amplitude organization. So this concludes the first part. Now we will move on to the organization and SDK configuration. So any good amplitude setup should have production and staging data separated. So over here you can see that for the Adasight website, we have the production and staging data separated because we have set up two different projects. So the staging project has the staging data, and the production project only has the production data. So unfortunately, this t- 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 so let me just correct this. So this is for the production environment, and you can always a quick demo for you. You can always see how we can update all of this information. So the idea over here is that the production environment should have clean data. It should not have any data that was used for testing. Plus the structure of the data also needs to have a certain quality and standard, and to ensure all of that, we separate out the production and staging projects. If we want to see whether the user ID is set or not, we can always go to the user profile section, and over here, if we have user ID set, then we would see a user ID in the user ID column. If we don't have user ID set, then all users will have the anonymous user tag over here. The next part is the data sources and quality part. So over here, what we'll do is we'll go to the data section, and within the data section we are going to look at the data sources and the data destinations, and we want to see whether server-side tracking is enabled or not. So over here you can see that we just have the browser SDK. If there are several data sources which are being used to collect data to be ingested into Amplitude, we'll see the list over here. We can list them down as data source A, B, and C. We can always list down with what are the platforms that we are tracking, whether it's just web or if it's mobile app as well. If we would see an HTTP API source over here, that would mean that we also have server-side tracking enabled, but in this case, we are only tracking the data via the browser SDK. To see if we have all relevant URLs being tracked, we can always go and create a report for page views, and we can group that by page URLs to see if all URLs are being tracked or not. One best practice that we always check for all our clients is to make sure that the Amplitude SDK is being triggered within the header tag of the website. That is the best way to ensure that all data is being tracked and all users are being tracked without impacting performance of the website, plus ensuring that any new pages that are added in the future are also being tracked in Amplitude. So that's also something that we test as part of our Amplitude audit. If we want to see that there are data destinations used, so we can always go to the destinations tab. There are several use cases for data destinations. So as you can see, we connected the BigQuery destination to export Amplitude data, but the current status is that it has been disabled right now. So that's one use case. If you want to export your data to a data warehouse, you can do that. Another use case is that you want to export cohorts of users to different platforms, where you want to send email updates to those users, or you want to send push notifications or in-app messages. All of that you can connect those as a destination to Amplitude to export different cohorts of users. To track exclusions of internal users, we can always go to data filters. So over here, we can apply bot traffic filters. Plus, if we want to filter out internal users by their user IDs or IP addresses, we can always create filters over here. So you can click on the create filter button, and then you have certain configuration that you can set up to basically change anything or filter out any data that you want. Then we have a section which is related to the tracking plan. So for this section, I'll just expand the um, workbook template and basically show you guys how we do this for our clients. So a lot of it has to do with making sure that we have a consistent tracking plan with an event naming structure. Plus, we also need to make sure that anything that we want to track is related to the data use cases, business value drivers, or the KPIs that we want to track. Plus, we want to also make sure that we are covering all the user journey funnels or not. So this section basically takes a look at all the tracking plan setup that we have within Amplitude or not. So within our growth analytics workbook template, we have different tabs where we list down the business value drivers and data use cases for your business. Then we have the baseline KPIs, growth KPIs, user journey funnels, and then based on all of these, we prepare events and event properties. So anything that we want to track on Amplitude needs to have a data use case associated with it. We don't want to go into the mindset of tracking each and everything that could be tracked. We want to make sure that anything that we are tracking has an objective, whether it is to track a KPI, whether it is to answer a business question, or whether it is to track the conversion rate in a user journey funnel. So we make sure within our Amplitude audit if your tracking plan is following all of these best practices or not. The next section covers the different events that we have in Amplitude, and now we'll expand the Amplitude dashboard a bit. We can go to the events section to see the list of all the events that are being tracked. We can see that if this matches the tracking plan that we just saw, are there any duplicate events? Are we using event categories or not? If there are any issues that have been reported or not. So all of this, we do a very quick audit of this. And then for feature usage, we want to see if there are any alerts set. If there are add-ons purchased, are they being used or not? Are Is the client using annotations? Is the client using notebooks, cohorts? Are these cohorts being used in analysis or reports? If the client is using dashboard templates or not. So all of this, we do that within the Amplitude interface. So just for an example, if we go to the cohort section, we can see if there are any cohorts created or not, and if there are, what is the number of cohorts. Here we can see that we don't have any cohorts created, so we know that for this case we don't really use a lot of cohorts. And then finally, we have the data culture section. So this is basically client reported, where we want to see if the client is using hypotheses or not. Do they validate or disprove their hypothesis on a regular basis? Do they share insights within the rest of the team? How many users are actually using Amplitude within the organization? And then for site crawl, we want to see whether the pages have UTM parameters or not. Again, we can do this via testing through the Amplitude browser plugin, or we can always create a report and see if the pages have UTM parameters or not. And then finally, we want to see if there is PII being tracked on the platform, because in some markets there are very strict regulations, especially related to GDPR, where we don't want to be tracking any personally identifiable information without prior consent from the user. So to check this, we can always go to user profiles, and we can click on any specific user, and we can see what are the user properties that are being tracked. And within this list, we can see if we are able to find any PII or not. uh, Generally, what happens is, for products where users can log in, there is a tendency for clients to set the email ID as the user ID, which is not the recommended best practice from Amplitude. Amplitude recommends that we use an alphanumeric anonymous ID for the user ID, which we can set for every instance the user visits, so that we are able to track the user across different visits. Um, so we can use this to make sure that we are not tracking any PII on the Amplitude platform. So yeah, this was a very quick overview of how we use the Amplitude audit format that we have in our Growth Analytics Workbook, to make sure that our clients are following the best practices for Amplitude. If there are any optimization areas we identify, then we help the client set those up. So yeah, this was a very quick overview of the Amplitude audit process.